Welcome to the Boomer and Son podcast. A boomer and a son from completely different eras talk about their unique perspectives on the NBA, the NFL, and whatever sports you guys want us to talk about. Today, we're going to be talking about the NBA. Boomer, what are we talking about first?
Hey, Joe. Thanks a lot. Hey, hi, everybody. So today, I think we want to talk about point guards in the NBA and maybe some of the more controversial point guards in the NBA. We've got some pretty crazy stuff happening. Had a crazy trade last year. I still can't make any sense of it. I got to tell you the truth. Westbrook to the Lakers, how that was ever going to fit, I have no idea. Ben Simmons in Philly. And there's guys like my son begging to have on their team. He's saying, "Oh, I wish he was a Spur." I'm like, "Whoa, the last thing I want on my team is Benny Simmons." And then you got Kyrie, the guy who won't get vaccinated and can't play. And then now they're talking James Harden's going to leave and go to Philly. What else we got, Joe? Damian Lillard not playing, and all of a sudden Portland's winning a ton of games. So let's talk point guards and kind of veteran point guards. Really is what we're talking about. I guess they're the old guys we're talking about. Let's go through it.
I mean, minus Ben Simmons, he is a young piece.
He's like an old man, though. He's like an old man. Look at that. Well, I'm not playing this year. I'm not playing.
For sure. First thing, though, one of the first things I want to talk about is this kind of, I guess, the Russell Westbrook trade. Kyle Kuzma has actually had more triple doubles this season than Embiid, LeBron, Giannis, and KD. He has been absolutely balling, and Wizards are doing better this year without Russell Westbrook and adding Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and KCP. And the Lakers also gave up picks in this trade. The Lakers got absolutely fleeced. It didn't really look like it at the time, but that's a terrible trade for the Lakers, and it's going to be pretty much impossible to get rid of Westbrook. But unfortunately, last night, the Washington Wizards absolutely collapsed. Kyle Kuzma can't inbound the ball 2 times in a row, misses a free throw at the end of the game, and they foul Luke Kennard on a 3-point and one to win the game with 1 second left. That was an absolutely crazy game. If you're a Wizards fan, or if you're a Wizards fan that went to the game, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Honestly, you got to fire the entire staff after that game. You got to fire the coach. You got to fire the GM. They all need pizza applications. They all need them. They need Subway applications. They need the whole 9 at this point. That was an embarrassing loss for the Washington Wizards. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard didn't even play. They didn't even play. Boomer, in all of your time, I know you've been along for a long time watching sports. Have you ever seen a collapse like this? And what would you kind of compare it to if you have?
You know what? I don't even know what I could find. Like, this is kind of a weird one because obviously regular season game, not a playoff game. Lakers, Celtics had some amazing games like that. But this was like a no-name team. Like, it was like there was nobody there. I mean, Kennard just basically stole the game away from them by, I think, 7 points in how many seconds? I don't know, 13 seconds, like some ridiculous number.
10.
Anyways,
10 seconds.
it was crazy. It was just a total collapse. Wizards fans, I feel bad for you. I mean, that's pretty painful to watch when you think you got the game in the bag and then you pull off plays like that and then you foul the guy on the 3-point shot. Man, that's like some pretty basic stuff. I want to get back to Westbrook, though. You're talking now Clippers without Paul George and Kawhi. Kind of tough going for them, okay? But Westbrook, I'm going to do a little bit of I told you so. And I told you when they made that trade, like, oh, Westbrook is great. So, you know what? Westbrook is great. He's done things that nobody has done in the history of basketball. There's no question about that. But is he good for a team? Is he chasing stats? Does he care more about his own stats? It kind of goes back to what we were talking about last time about Antonio Brown. Like, I know he cares about the team, but I don't know that he cares enough about the team that he's going to give himself up. And I don't know that he's actually got the skill set that they need to be successful there. I mean, to me, I just didn't see him as a good fit with LeBron. I just didn't see it working. And right now, you know, like, this is a 30% 3-point shooter. I mean, with LeBron, you kind of want somebody who's going to be able to space the floor a little bit, give the guy a bit of room so he can get to the basket, so he can do his own things. But I don't even know that you really got to cover Westbrook too much from 3-point. I mean, he lets him fly, but what again? 0 for 2 again last night. 0 for 2, 1 for 3. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not really too worried about Westbrook killing you from downtown.
Yeah. Yeah. And the problem is he's just going to keep firing away no matter what. So I think when I just saw it and I thought like LeBron knows what he's doing at the start of the season. We look at this team, we say they get Russell Westbrook, they get Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk. Malik Monk has been decent. Kendrick Nunn, who they got from the Heat in free agency, and Kendrick Nunn hasn't played any games. People forget about that, but Kendrick Nunn hasn't played, and he's a solid backup point guard. He had a good run with the Heat. But we look at this team and we said they're probably going to win the West. There isn't really even going to be that much competition. There's no one else that really has two superstars and an all-star. You can even debate maybe Russell Westbrook used to be he definitely was a superstar, but you could have even at the start of the season said that they've got three superstars. The only other team in the NBA that even has that is the Brooklyn Nets. It kind of said, hey, look, it's Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers. That's the finals. It's already predicted. They just got another superstar to a team that won a couple of years ago, and they have been absolutely terrible. And LeBron has been on a tear. He's averaging over 29 points per game. They can't win it. They can't win anything. And Russell Westbrook, he's been horrible, and they're never going to be able to get rid of him. His trade value goes down every time he steps on the floor. It's embarrassing, honestly.
He's laying an egg, and you know, LeBron is like putting up like 30 points a game plus now, taking down 8 to 10 rebounds, you know, 7 to 10 assists. Like, I mean, he's, you know, kind of in triple double range on a regular basis. And even though he's getting older, man, he's just putting on a show out there. But it tells you it's a team sport. I mean, you got to have the other pieces around you to kind of make you successful. I mean, it was kind of, you know, you talk about the old San Antonio Spurs basketball, you know, you got to have players. Everyone's got to have a role. Everyone's got to be strong. Everyone's got to understand the system, and everyone's got to give something up so that the system works. And I don't know there's enough buy-in on that team. And I'm not talking about LeBron but you know what? I'll even point out AD. I mean, you know, I hear, and again, I'm not there in the locker room. I don't know what's going on. They say, oh, AD doesn't want to play center. AD doesn't want to play center. So LeBron plays center instead of AD. What the hell kind of a setup is that anyways? Like who does that? Like AD's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a natural, you know, like when you're playing when I say a small lineup, it's not even like a tiny lineup, but a smaller lineup. Why the hell can't he play? Oh, I don't want to go up again. I don't know. He doesn't want to get hurt. I'm not sure what it is. He's not, you know, comfortable doing that. But I mean, that's kind of part of being a team. Remember Paul George? They wanted him to play. I'm pretty sure they wanted him to play the 4 in Indiana.
Yeah,
with Larry Bird. In fact, it was, and people said, and I don't know that it's true, but they said, you know, that's one of the reasons Larry Bird packed it in. He goes like, you know what, screw it. These guys are all idiots. Like, you know what, the game is getting smaller. We need you to step up from the 2 to the 3, from 3 to the 4, like whatever it takes. Everyone's got to change because the game is changing. And guys, well, I don't want to play that. That's not my thing. I think it was 2 to 3, right? Because I think he's playing shooting guard, but now I think he's playing in the 3 anyway. It's like, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, it's about players that are willing to do what it takes to win. And that's not easy to find. It's not easy because, you know, and I understand, like, who wants to fail? Anthony Davis, fantastic player, number 4, like amazing power forward, amazing. He doesn't want to be a center and get posterized all the time. I don't know. Like, I guess there's different things that different people think, but I mean, in this game, you got to adjust. The game has changed a lot. Yeah, and I think that honestly, for teams to be successful, the team has got to adjust and kind of go with where the coach is going. And if the coach is wrong, then you get rid of the damn coach.
Yeah, kind of on that topic, like LeBron playing center, everyone is obsessed with like, this is such a smart idea. Like, I love LeBron at center, and it's cool, like having a mobile center, and he can't guard other bigs in the league. He's a big body, 260, 270, 6'9". But at the same time, this is another reason Russell Westbrook blows. What is LeBron's best asset, really? It's driving to the rim, which he is still doing, but also playmaking. You're kind of taking the ball out of LeBron's hands when he's at center and Russell Westbrook's running point guard. Because, yeah, Russell Westbrook, he's going to get a lot of assists. I think he averages around 8 a game, but it's not the same impact as LeBron because Westbrook's going to dribble the shot clock out, pass at the last second. You got to shoot the ball. You're going to rack up assists doing that. He's done that kind of his whole career. LeBron is going to feed you cross court wide open, and you're just taking the ball out of LeBron's hands, adding Westbrook. It just seems like a silly move by the Lakers. I don't know who. It must have LeBron must have had input, and it kind of disappoints me that LeBron was involved in getting Russell Westbrook, but he's just completely useless. And I guess kind of on the topic of completely useless players, someone that is not playing at all right now, Ben Simmons. What is going on with Ben Simmons in Philadelphia? And I'm a huge believer, honestly, in Ben, and I'm also a believer that they should trade him right now. But you don't seem to think the same. What are your thoughts on Ben Simmons, Boomer?
No way. So, I mean, I know everyone's saying, you know what, Embiid is having, season of the year. It's an MVP season. This is his best season ever. And he is unbelievable. But he's an unbelievable player. He's having a great year. He's having it without Ben Simmons. And so they're saying, oh, you need to add somebody to that team so that you can win now. So, but right now, they're not going to get Jack for him right now. What do you think they're going to give? You think that Damian Lillard is going to leave Portland? Not that I think that he's the right guy, okay? But you think, but they're talking about Harden being possibly interested. Like, to me, I would rather wait till the season's over, till people can make a good deal, do a sign and trade, whatever it takes, and then get a really good outcome from the trade. So instead of having a player like just kind of selling them off cheap, getting a player for 1 year, you have somebody that can play with Joel Embiid for the next 3, maybe 4 years. And you know what, man, there could be some serious championships going on down there in Philadelphia. And so I'm fully in that camp. Like, I just think, you know what, be patient. They're going to do well anyways. And sure, they would be nice if they had a really good point guard. But no way, don't sell it all right now. Embiid is too good. You got to wait. And maybe the right deal is going to come now. Maybe the perfect deal is going to come right now. And if it does, obviously they're going to jump on it. But most of the time, it's like a fire sale. And that's not really how you want to do it. There's enough people that believe in Ben Simmons. And I'll say, I have no idea why. I mean, I know he's a good player, but I mean, I don't know how you survive with a player that really can't shoot the ball. I mean, he even said himself, I could hardly even believe it. He goes, you know what? I'm not used to playing in a system where I'm expected to shoot the ball. You're a point guard, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Embiid is averaging 29 points per game. He's shooting like 50% from the field. He's shooting 38% from 3 this year. He's just been an absolute monster. This is his best season of his career. And with Embiid and his knees and his back and all of his problems, who even knows if he's going to have another season like this ever? Who knows if he injures himself in the offseason or something happens? You just really don't know with Embiid, but I completely understand what you're saying. But if I'm other teams, if I'm the Blazers are the 10 seed right now. And we've seen Lillard and McCollum. We've seen what they can do. We saw them get to the conference finals a couple years ago, I think 3 years ago. They played the Warriors with no KD. They got swept. We saw them get bounced in the first round last year by a Jamal Murray-less Nuggets team. They're a good first round team. Their ceiling is the second round, pretty much. They got to the conference finals one time. They got blown out the waters. We've seen this team's potential. They got Norman Powell. It did nothing. Nurkic is healthy. They're still horrible. You're not going to win with Lillard and McCollum. It's just a fact. It's not going to happen. If I'm the Blazers, I'm blowing it up. You see how good Anthony Simons has been with Lillard out. I build a little bit around Anthony Simons, and I grab Ben Simmons and put some shooters around him out in Portland. Ben Simmons, I'm telling you, he could be a Giannis type player, and his jump shot is not broken. He's got a jump shot. If you watch him practice and he's shooting, he's got a jump shot. He's just scared. Someone's got to fix his mental. And Ben Simmons could be like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't really see a better playmaking Giannis Antetokounmpo. Maybe a little bit more size too. But I think if I'm Portland, I'm going all in for Ben. If I'm the San Antonio Spurs with DeJounte Murray, I'm trading him for Ben Simmons. There's just I think so many teams are overlooking this guy's potential after seeing what Giannis did last year in the playoffs. So I know you don't agree with that statement, but that's just my take on the whole Ben Simmons thing.
No, you know what? If a guy walks out on the team, they go back to Antonio. You walk out on the team. I don't want to play with you. I think it bodes well for it bodes poorly for the future. I'm not disputing that this guy is extremely talented. Watched some clips on him yesterday, and yeah, he's pretty amazing. He's long, and I love guys who play great defense, and he's definitely tenacious defender. And that's kind of one of the things that disturbs me. I just usually like great defenders like that are really like totally committed to the game. They're not guys that are going to bail because it's easy not to play defense to say, oh, you know what, I'm tired. I'm kind of waiting for the ball to go up the other way. But he hustles. So I don't know what's in his head. And I agree with you. I have just like I always say about DeMar DeRozan, I think he could be a tremendous 3-point shooter, but you know what? You got to believe. And I don't know how he's going to convince himself that he's a good shooter, but I think for him to expand his role in the game to be an effective player, he needs to develop a consistent, at least mid-range shot. And really and truly, he should be able to hit from 3. I mean, the fact that he's just not even shooting tells me it's all in his head.
Yep, 3 for 10 the last year he played was Ben Simmons from 3.
There you go, man. 30%. Look at Westbrook shoots like a freaking 1,000 threes every year, and he's 30%. Ben Simmons, I'm only 30%. I'm going to take 10 shots all year.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. I think the thing is now with Ben Simmons is I think he's kind of on like a little revenge rampage after the Sixers, after Doc Rivers and Embiid threw him under the bus. I think he's going to be working on that 3-point shot this whole season for him is an off season. And I think he's going to come out booming next year. People are sleeping on Ben Simmons and his value's dropping. This is the right time to buy in on Ben Simmons. Just the Sixers and Daryl Morey, they want way too much, honestly. They think the price is still high, but the price is low and it should be. But I'm telling you, in the future, Ben Simmons, he has the potential. I really think he has the potential to be like a Giannis type player, a top 10 player in the league. And I think he's on a revenge rampage right now, but I guess we'll see.
The problem is that everyone saw what happened. He just didn't have it. He got scared. He wasn't shooting free throws. He was not, didn't even take that darn layup. I mean, that was insane. And everyone understands why. Like, it's not like it's some kind of a secret, but in team sports, like a lot of things, if you're a real team, you suck it up and you take it like a man, you take it as a team, and then you work with the player. Embiid throws one of the bus. Embiid's kind of, he's a pretty emotional guy. The shock to me is that one of the nicest guys that I think is in all of basketball is Doc Rivers. I was just kind of disappointed, honestly, in him as a coach. And I know he was disappointed as hell because he thought they should have won. But he really kind of threw him under the bus and just basically said, you know what, I don't know if I can go forward with him. How do you say that to a young player? And Ben Simmons is not like an old man or anything like that. How do you say that and then expect him to just say, oh, no worries, coach, everything's good? I mean, these guys are, prima donnas, right? They don't want to be listening to this kind of crap. Oh, I don't know if this is the right guy for my team. So the problem with doing that, and maybe kind of got something off his chest, good for him. But the problem is that now he's heard that and he's wearing that, and he's carrying that, and he's kind of holding that grudge, not really helping anybody, and it reduces his value. The whole league says, look at Doc said the guy can't play.
Yeah.
Doc says, I'm not even sure I want him on the team.
Yeah. And I think the reason Philly is also holding on to Ben Simmons so long and asking for ridiculous trade offers for Ben Simmons is because of the whole Markelle Fultz situation. You've got 2 number 1 picks. The process was trusted. The Philly fans, they trusted the process, and you gave a Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. That is pretty embarrassing.
Hey, don't forget Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid too. But Joel Embiid went 2nd overall. Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz were both number 1 overall picks and both completely wasted. They traded Markelle Fultz for a 2nd-round pick and Jonathan Simmons, who they bought out. He didn't even play a single game on Philly. And they just don't want the same thing to happen with Simmons. I thought they should have held on to Markelle Fultz a little bit longer, but he was just going to get tormented by the Philly crowd. All that weird stuff at the free throw line and all of his mechanics were lost. You can't really blame Philly too much on that one, but wow. They drafted Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, What are you thinking? Imagine Joel Embiid and Jason
Ooh,
Tatum right now. That would be a crazy team, and they passed up on him for Markel Fultz. So that definitely stings, and I think that's what the asking price for Simmons is so high, just because of everything that happened with Markel Fultz. Um, but I still think Simmons has a lot of value. Guess we'll see how that plays out.
man, that's Markel. That I mean, they sold that guy for a bag of hockey pucks, man. That was
Yep.
bad. That was
Yep.
a bad, like two bad choices in a row. Yeah, you know what? That sports is like that sometimes, but man, yeah, that's painful. So they
Yep.
got to, but they got to move forward. Luckily, they did get Joel Embiid, and
Yep.
he's turned out to be, absolute gold. That guy's a hell of a player. Brings it every night. Looks like he's getting into better shape too. He's looking good. So they got a chance, but they got to make a deal. They got to do something because I don't think that Simmons plays on that team. I know people are talking about, oh, you know what, maybe he's going to come back at the end of the season. I just don't see it working. Like I think that everyone is so pissed with him and so annoyed with him because he's, being such a baby. Remember when he went to practice and he's kind of lollygagging, not really
His
taking
phone.
part?
His phone
Come
out
on,
during
man.
practice.
Out,
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So
And
what about the big deal? The big deal that you told me about?
yeah, well, I guess kind of Ben Simmons, we don't think he's going to play anymore. And someone that a lot of people thought was never going to play this season, but just recently started playing away games and now it might start playing home games. Mr. KYRIE Irving. I think they said they're going to fine them like $5,000 or $3,000, which is like pennies to the Brooklyn Nets. Hell, even if it was $10,000, 20,000, I think they're still putting in Kyrie and paying that fine. And I don't know. It seems like the NBA is just like they're just scraping for pennies. That they got hit hard by COVID financially. I understand that, but they're just like, come on, you can't let Kyrie play after all the stuff he's kind of done, and he's just putting other players at risk, and you're gonna give them a little fine. Like, I don't
That's a
know.
disgrace, man. That's a disgrace. Look at this guy. I'm still, my theory is still like he's saying, oh, you know what? I'm speaking up for the people of the world. My ass. I think he's just afraid to get a needle. That's really what it is. It's funny because a lot of big guys are afraid of needles. Grown men. It's kind of weird that they just kind of pass out at the sight of a darn needle. This thing, come on, man. You don't even, again, it goes back to thinking about the team, thinking about the collective instead of thinking about yourself.
Yep.
Kyrie won with LeBron. LeBron dragged them to victory. Kyrie played great. You saw when he tried to take over a team, he can't do it. He
Yep.
doesn't have that ability to give himself up for the team. It's why he left. He's like, oh man, everyone's talking about LeBron. What about me, man? What about me? What about me, Kyrie? Look at me.
Yep.
And no question, again, these guys are like uber talented. I get it, but he hasn't done shit. Like he's done nothing
Yeah.
really since he's left Cleveland. God knows him and LeBron together, they might have won another, one or two. Who knows?
Yeah.
Instead, oh, look at me. I'm going to go be my own star. And what do? He craps out in Boston. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, he's crapping out in Brooklyn. I mean, they haven't done nothing.
Yeah. And I kind of, that is an interesting theory, Kyrie being scared of needles. But my Kyrie theory is you look at his career, he kind of lashes out in Cleveland and completely sucks in Boston. Everyone honestly started to hate him after that. It's just kind of disrespectful to LeBron, one of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all time. He lied to the Celtics fan base, and he was kind of getting to be known like this, like someone that couldn't lead a team, someone that doesn't keep his promises. He was kind of getting this bad rep around his name. I think he realized like I'm not good enough to have my legacy live on as a player. Yes, he did it that huge shot in Cleveland and he played great in Cleveland. But after that whole situation, his reputation was tarnished, I think. And he said, maybe instead of me being known as that guy that couldn't lead a team by myself, the guy that lashed out on LeBron, I'm going to be known as the spiritual man. He's putting sage on the court. He's so weird in his interviews. And I know it's kind of rude to say that, but let's keep it real. He wasn't doing that sage stuff in Cleveland when he was winning championships. It's just this new persona, now the anti-vax. I honestly think that's kind of this new Kyrie thing. And I remember last year just sitting out random games for like 5 games in a row. He just wouldn't play. It was like the weirdest thing ever. And that's kind of my theory. Kyrie, he's trying to change his legacy because he knows he kind of screwed up with LeBron in Cleveland.
His legacy, Joe, is going to be a man of high intelligence. The man who's a member of the Flat Earth Society. Yeah, still talking about the flat Earth. He knows it's the Earth is flat. So, of course, when he talks about the vaccine and being against it and understanding everything, I have to give him a lot of credibility. Obviously, we're talking genius here. We're talking genius. But you know what, Kyrie, I beg to differ.
Yeah. He's kind of lost his marbles a little bit, Mr. Kyrie Irving. But hey, man, I don't know what the trend is with point guards this year, but they've all been kind of letting us down. And I hope you guys enjoyed this point guard episode. Let us know what you guys want to hear next. NBA, NFL, potentially NHL, MLB, maybe even the Olympics, which are coming up soon. Put some questions in the comments. Boomer, what do you have to say to kind of wrap this one up?
So long from the Boomer, everybody. That was a lot of fun, and we'll talk some more next time. Ciao.